And so as we turned to go back out to sea, we just launched over this massive wave straight up in the air. And I went up and came back down on my head, out. So they pulled me in, medic. I come to, and he's like, we're done, we're going in. Well, so then we flip over as soon as he makes that decision, and the engine comes off the transom. And we're scattered all around, so we swim back. We right the boat. I'm pulling the engine up on the steel lanyard, and as I set it on the transom, a wave comes and washes that engine right into my head. Now I've got 2 blows to the head in half an hour.
Hey guys, welcome back. I've got a awesome guest with me today. Got a great name. His name is Nicholas Allen. Nick's a strong name. Your parents did you right, and you look freaking strong.
I am.
Just really humble. Like that's it. I am really strong. Have you seen the new Army commercial?
Oh yeah, very simple. Strong people are hard to kill, or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
like the dude deadlifting like 700 pounds. He's like, stronger people are harder to kill, and then this is it.
Love it.
Army. I'm like, fuck yes, dude. I'm like, that's all we need. We need to go back to the 90s, commercials of just straight masculinity in the military. But anyways, dude, you got your own podcast. Lesser known operator. What was the motivation of starting that?
I think special operations dudes and dudettes are the most versatile, interesting people in the world, right?
Yeah.
And the answer keeps changing the more I think about it, but we can be good at waging war and killing people, right? And then you can pluck those same people out and put them in business and they'll succeed, or in the kitchen and they'll succeed, or running a lawn care service, or anything, literally any fucking thing. But they can go to war and kill people. And all those people in all those areas of business, you can't do that. You can't pluck them out of where they are and send them off to do that sort of thing. They can do literally fucking anything. And I want to talk to everybody.
We're going to suck in all that knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And from your opinion, what brought you to that conclusion? I mean, I agree. I think there's a lot of personal growth and work that needs to happen when you leave the military. But when you can translate, for myself, when I really cleaned it up and translated some of the skills that I learned in special operations and some of the attributes that I had, and then I translated them into life and business, it is what made me wildly successful. But curious, from your point of view, why do you think that is? Do you think it's a personality thing? Do you think it's a trained thing?
I think a lot of the people that go to these higher levels special operations, right, they already think they're that guy, and they're attaining that provenance, right? I want to be the baddest motherfucker. And it's just the greatest collection of people that think that way. You walk down in the team room, they're all bad motherfuckers, right? Yeah. Even the worst guy on the team still very smart, very intelligent, very capable. And if they're not, they're gone.
Yeah.
So, and when they get out, and you said clean up some of those skills, right? That's where we fail, is because we get so addicted to the top of the mountain, to being the best, that team room environment, that we don't think it's going to end, or we want to keep it going, and then we self-medicate, or we have problems at home, or we have undiagnosed TBIs, or whatever you have, right? Yeah. And it wrecks our lives. And that's when we have our problem transitioning out. But clear headspace, fucking, they can do it. You can get out and start your own business. You've been able to do that. Many other people have.
Yeah.
But being able to recognize those self-destructive things that we do to keep the life going is, I think, the biggest detriment to all of us, to the man, almost.
And it's I hate to say it, but it's little all too common. And, you know, I did it to myself as well for a couple years as well. And so you had an undesirable exit, I'll call it that, from the Army. Yeah, can you tell us about that in your own words?
So I got to my ODA in January of 2015. I went to a dive team. Terrible in the water. So Sergeant Major sends me down the hallway to the dive team.
Were you this big back then?
I was just coming out of the course, so I was probably 225, 230. I'm 240 now.
Okay. A little bit more manageable.
I'm stronger, fitter, faster, everything that I have ever been right now.
Really?
Yeah, there's no comparison. To me right now, I would kick the shit out of me 10 years ago. It's unbelievable.
I think that everybody should be able to say that, right? At any point in their
I
life.
hope the best that you, I really wish it for, because I got to the point where I did something the other day. I went, I'm strong. I feel strong. And it's just great feeling to have stuck to the plan and accomplished what I wanted to do, and to be there. It's like, yes, I am happy with where I'm at physically. It won't last forever, but I love it.
But I think that, you know, I think that up to a certain age, you should be able to look back at 10 years and go, yeah, I could kick his ass. I definitely can. I can kick my younger self's ass for sure. Now, go the distance, maybe not so much, you know, but on the mats for sure, you know. Let's see, what was 15?
So
I would definitely kick myself's ass in 2015. That's for sure. In all areas. That was a rough time.
Jiu-jitsu, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
It's tough to compete with.
2015 version of me was overweight, drinking, eating like shit, and not training jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, that poor guy, he wouldn't have a stand a chance. Now, 29, 30-year-old me, you know, 2010, 2012, I'd still win for sure, but it wouldn't be as fun. Beating my ass 2015, 16 version, that would just be kind of pleasurable. So anyways, you graduate, you're obviously in great shape. You get to your ODA, and what happens?
I wasn't in dive team shape, but
Yeah.
Who is? So
I don't know if there's such thing as that.
no,
I
am now. I think I could pass now.
I think you just make it. You just one day at a time at dive school. You just survive.
Yeah, good on the SEALs and everybody that goes and passes dive school. Good for you guys. I don't know if I could pass. If I had a chance to do it, it would be right now.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. But so we go do some beach landing seizure training in Astoria, Oregon. And we were supposed to be out there in 12 to 15 foot waves. 3 to 5 foot waves, and we were out there in 12 to 15 foot waves. And just a litany of things that went wrong. But
yeah, that sea state's way too high, man.
And we had 5 people in the boat, and then we kicked 2 people out as the swimmers to go to shore. So then we're down to 3, and then we had 35 horsepower engines instead of 55s.
Oh, cool.
And so as we turned to go back out to sea, we just launched over this massive wave straight up in the air. And I went up and came back down on my head, out. So they pulled me in, and medic. I come to, and he's like, we're done, we're going in. Well, so then we flip over as soon as he makes that decision, and the engine comes off the transom. And we're scattered all around, so we swim back. We right the boat, and
wait a minute. The motor comes off.
Off, but it's on the lanyard. It's on the steel wire.
So you still had it.
Yeah, it was down in the water. So I'm pulling the engine up on the steel lanyard, and as I set it on the transom, a wave comes and washes that engine right into my head.
Yeah.
So now I've got 2 blows to the head in half an hour.
Did either knock you out?
I don't know. The first one did.
Okay.
The second one, I don't know what happened after that because everything kind of runs together. We get to
of course.
shore
Yeah.
after another hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
Okay.
And the team sergeant overruled the team leader and didn't send me home. Didn't stop training. So the next day, I went to get into a van, and I pulled the door frame into my head and let go and fell and smacked my head off the concrete. And that was what did it. So I started having shooting pains in my head, started throwing up, repeating myself. They took me to the hospital, sent me home. And then I skip in time, like 6 months. And I started remembering things in like October, November. And
You had this whole block of time just.
for 45 days, I didn't get out of bed. And then when I went to my first
what were they saying
appointment,
was
I was
going on
still
with your
throwing
brain?
up. Post-concussive syndrome.
That's it
Yeah,
for 45 days.
I was sick.
Holy
Sick.
cow,
Like,
man.
so I started getting better, and I was going to half days at work, but still like physically diminished. And we were planning to go to Korea in the beginning of 2016. So I started coming to and working with the B team and doing support, but I was never going back to an A team at that
Yeah.
point. So I was getting these shooting pains, and they were like a hook in my eye, and pulling straight down, and all the way down my back. To some extent, they're still there because I can still feel where it would hurt, but it's not like it was. I'm a lot better than I was, especially with thoughts and things like that.
Did you go to a brain clinic before you got?
I did go to one in 2017. I went to Walter Reed, but it wasn't the one they told us it was going to be. It was a different one. It was an inpatient version of that. And they took all my information, kept me there for a couple weeks, and weren't able to determine what was going on with me. So the colonel even said, there's so much we don't know about concussions and how they affect the brain and pains and things like that. Some of this, we might only find out what's wrong with you after you're dead.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
said, yeah, there's a full-bird colonel. So that was disappointing. And then
I would say so.
so my commander and my sergeant major, they allowed me to stay in. They could have medically retired me right away, but I was allowed to go to Korea for 6 months. I went back to Korea for 8 months after that, and then I went to staff. And when we came down on orders for Afghanistan, I got medically retired. So
But then you've never, like, what kind of treatment have you been doing since then?
first and foremost, I avoid getting hit in the head at all costs.
As you should. I try to
Yeah.
avoid that at this point as well.
I didn't. I took it very poorly getting out of the military. I did not want that to happen at all, and drank a lot from the time I got out
So going
until
back to
about
their
a
decision,
year and a half ago.
Yeah, hold on one second, because I definitely want to get into that. But going back to that whole medical retirement bit, that wasn't something that you said, yeah, I guess I'll accept this. Like, they said, no, you're getting medically retired. Like, there wasn't really
Yeah.
okay. It wasn't really a conversation, if you will.
I was deploy or get out at the time. So I was planning a deal to go back to Korea for 3 years. If that would have gone through, I feel like I would still be in, supporting in some way. But I came into work one day and Sergeant Major was gone. The new Sergeant Major was in, and there was no deal there anymore.
Isn't that the way it works?
Yeah. I try not to dwell on it anymore, though, because I'm happy now.
Well, yeah, but, you know, regardless of the way, dwelling or not, it's a story. That's your story. You know what I mean? And by sharing it, you're probably helping somebody else. Not probably, you are. All right, so you get out. Obviously, you didn't take it well. I didn't take it well either. I'll tell you right now. And I made the choice. I don't know if you've read my book, but like I made the choice to get out. And I still didn't take it well, you know, because of things we talked about before. But before we started recording, so what was that crash like afterwards?
Just devastated. Like I'd worked really hard to get that beret and tab.
Yeah, it's not easy. That's not easy, man. It's one of like very, very few. Was it 1%, 0.4% of the population joins the military, and less than 1% enter special operations. So whatever that math is, very few people.
It's very few people. I am very proud of what I did, but then it was gone. Like,
Yeah.
But the best thing that Sergeant Major said to me on the day I got out, he said, "You're always going to be a Green Beret." It was a comment on Facebook, and I got a little screenshot of it. And that was the best thing that anybody could have said to me, because I think about that all the time. I don't wear the uniform anymore, but I can still be an inspiration or an example to uphold the reputation of regiment. So now, putting that into practice is difficult because that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I worked my ass off to get there. I only wanted to do that. I only wanted to be a Green Beret. I didn't want to do anything else. I had no plans to be a civilian, so just completely lost when I got out. And just recently, 8 years, 7 years, starting to get my shit together.
Yeah, it takes some time. You mentioned that you kind of fell apart. What was what does that mean for you?
You let your fitness slip, drink too much.
And you were fit before, so
I was strong, yeah.
Yeah, how did? Because this is something that I talk about a lot. So I'm curious from your point of view, looking back now at that version, who's not here with us anymore. That guy's not there. This is a different person I'm talking to. But how did he let that slip? What was the excuses? What was the internal dialogue that was happening to make fitness slip?
I was too far to drive for this new job. I don't feel like going. I'll just do it tomorrow. Or just complete lack of motivation to continue. Because what's the point? You're around these people at this job you don't want to be around, and you're trying to uphold a standard for what?
Right.
And trying to feel better with self-medicating might be more important.
Right.
But it's, you think back about it, you're like, what the fuck was I saying to myself, right? Like you know who you are, but you don't. In the military, we wore our resume on our uniform, right? It was kind of who we are, and then that's all gone, and so you don't know who you are when you get out. You have to rebuild from where you were before you joined, because I wasn't too far outside of my hometown, and now I've just been gone 8 years, and now I'm back in the same situation, just older.
But more strong.
Fuck, man. That took a dip.
Yeah. So what outside the fitness stuff? What was going on? Like, what did you start to do? You mentioned self-medicating. What does that mean?
Drinking just becomes a normal thing when you're out, because you can just press pause until tomorrow. And you don't have to worry about your problems or worry that you're letting yourself slip further away from who you used to be. And I was just depressed. Like, I had lost what I wanted to do, and I had no way to get it back. But then you realize the community's still there. There's nonprofits you can work with. You know, the internet, everybody's on social media. You can make yourself a little community if you want to. But I just didn't even seek that out. Just completely isolated. Moved out to Wisconsin from Washington. There's nobody here. You know, I joke that I'm the most famous Green Beret in Wisconsin because there's like 6 of us.
Why Wisconsin of all places?
I went to one of the job fairs on McCord after, right as I was getting out. And this company that was setting up a project back here offered me a job. I was like, oh, I'm an hour from my parents. I'm not in Illinois, I'm in Wisconsin. So I just took it and we moved back. Just didn't work out. This turned out to be a very strange fake project. But then I got into selling trucks after that, and did that for 4 years. And now I'm not there anymore and trying to find my way again.
That's okay. How much were you drinking during that time?
The most was, so my best friend killed himself July 6th of 2023.
Okay.
And from that point forward, it was enough to kill a normal person all the time.
Damn. Anything else?
So,
Or just
no.
pretty much booze?
Yeah, just, yeah, a lot. And we got to the point where it was a problem. I was going to lose my wife was going to leave, and I stopped.
It's one of the most destructive substances that's out there. You can say a lot of other ones are destructive because they are, but when you look at really like large numbers and what it's doing on a very small level, you know, like a death of 1,000 cuts, is just horrendous, man. What was the thing that happened to make you say, all right, it's enough is enough, Nick, get your shit together, stop drinking? Because you have all the reasons, and well, I say this, not reasons. You have all the excuses to keep drinking and just, you know, put yourself into a deep, dark hole that you can't get out of. But at some point, you made the decision. You're like, okay, I'm done being a bitch.
Yeah, the cops got called.
Okay.
So, and I was going to lose my wife, my house, everything again if I didn't stop. And so I did. And now I don't drink at all.
Yeah, you're telling me it's been how long?
13 months.
It's a big deal, man.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
proud of it. I tell as many people as I can because the more people I tell, it holds me accountable. Just to people I don't know, people I do know, and at least hopefully if something bad happens that pushes me over the edge, that all of those people that I've told will be in the back of my head and stop me from making a bad decision. So I try and be as open with it as can, not showing off, just kind of selfishly like, hey, everybody I tell, you guys got to keep me accountable for what I said I want to do.
Do you still have, like, I guess the urge, if you feel stressed, to be like, no?
No.
Good.
I'm afraid of of, man, have you had a friend commit suicide?
Brother, too many, unfortunately.
It's
Too
a tough
many.
thing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of that level of mental stress happening.
Yeah, I actually sent out an email this morning about it. A little bit about my story that I wrote in the book. Kind of a moment of weakness of mine, but you know, helping guys over the years. I really don't think that the majority of veterans want to end their life. I don't think that's what it is. I think they're just emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically exhausted. And they just want all that pain and all of that stress to stop. So they make a permanent decision on a temporary feeling. And
Yeah.
when you know, the work that I've done over the years, there just seems to be that constant, where it's just this nagging pain, and they don't have a solution for it. And so that's the solution. What's shitty about that is all of this is super solvable. The same traits, the things that you were talking about before we came on about what makes somebody that joins the military, you know, that 0.4% or even more, somebody who, you know, rises to the area of special operations. Like, there's a lot of personality traits in there, and those personality traits can make you super successful. But you got to remember which ones got you to where you're at today and how to apply them to where you want to go to tomorrow. Sometimes, like for me, I really wrapped my head around all of the stuff that I did in special operations or with reconnaissance in the Marine Corps in general was for that. Like, it didn't serve a purpose outside of the military. And then several years afterwards, when I started to separate myself from really like the more tactical level industry and then put it into practice, into just business and life and personal growth and personal life, is when I really started to realize, oh, okay, the things that made me successful here, the traits that made me successful here is what's going to get me here. And that's when I went from, you know, 240 at, you know, almost 30% body fat back down to where I was, and even better, and, you know, started making more money, and my businesses started growing and starting having clarity. And there's a lot that goes into it. But I just remember, and it's a very unpopular, I made a second video about that. We were talking about it with Mike Ridlin. A long time ago, I did a podcast on Mic Drop with Mike Ridlin, and I said something to the effect that these military veterans or they call themselves warriors, and they, you know, a lot of guys deployed and they went to battle in the selection courses, and they went to battle with themselves and their inner doubt and wanting to quit, and then they go down range and they go to war and they do all this stuff and they come back, and then they survive all that, and then what kills them is civilian life. And I just said, I'm not buying it. Now, that's what the clip said, but the 3-hour podcast, go ahead.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've heard that clip, and that was one thing I had that I disagreed with you about. But are you saying it was taken out of context?
Yeah, absolutely. It
Okay.
because
it had
somebody
to be that. I'm like,
no, and you can question me on it. Here's the deal, man. And I said what I said, and I stand by what I said. The thing is, and that's what we went into it, and that's what Mike said after the fact, was like, he's like, all the traits that got you to become a Navy SEAL, a Green Beret, a Marine Raider, a Recon Marine, whatever color of, you know, unicorn that you are, those traits is the same traits that are going to make you successful, and in the civilian world, it's the same thing, it's the same fight, but we don't align we don't align that to our own personal life. We think it's only applied in a military industrial complex arena when it's not, man. It's fucking life. Like, why don't we attack civilian life with the same tenacity that we attack the enemy? But we're not trained to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it came down to. And you start looking at it, and I've done this for years. I take a guy and I'm like, it's the same shit, man. It's the same thing. The same, you know, whatever you want to call it, tenacity, your perseverance, that thing in there that makes you, that dog inside of you that makes you just want to go and get it and take the fight to the enemy. Why are we not taking the fight to our objectives, to our goals, to our dreams? And that's where I said I don't buy it. I don't buy that the same person that accomplished all those things, and you come back and you're done with military service and then you just fold, and it's like, yeah, civilian life was my kryptonite. I was this badass dude. I was this veteran, the Navy SEAL, the whatever you want to call yourself. And then I come back and civilian life gets me. No, man, that's a limiting belief. It's a lack of perception, and it's a lack of belief in yourself. And you said it before the podcast,
Absolutely.
is the special operations guys that get out can achieve a great thing, and they can become wildly successful. That's the reason why you started your podcast. You want to have those conversations. And I'm standing on a pedestal saying the same thing, but you have to take everything that got you to where you're at, to where you were, and you apply those same techniques. And when I realized it personally, and that's where the clip became out of context, is I was really talking about myself, because I was that guy. I was the guy that went from 240 at single digit body fat in special operations to 240 at almost 30%, drinking, you know, a bottle a day and eating shit and totally misaligned with, you know, my values and who I was and my limiting beliefs and et cetera. I was just, I damn near lost everything. I mean, I lost my kids, my whole future, my own life, businesses. I filed bankruptcy. I mean, it was just a disaster. But when I realized that it was the same things that got me through life, that got me through all the selection processes, that got me back, those traits that if I applied to my life today is how I was going to win. And that's exactly what I've done since that time. And that's the reason why I don't buy it.
I think it goes back to accountability first, right? You take off the uniform and you leave. There's nobody in charge of you anymore. You're the boss.
That's it.
And there's no master sergeant coming down the hallway,
Nope.
getting the orders from sergeant major, who's getting his orders from sergeant major, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I'm in charge. What the fuck? Now I got to come up with the plan and execute it. And I haven't had to do that in 5, 10, 20 years. And then you've got other factors. I got undiagnosed traumatic brain injury. I got problems at home, and my drinking's out of control. And then you're getting out also because you don't want the team life to end. Mm-hmm. And the last vestiges of the team life is that drinking with the guys, and you're not going to let that go. Yeah. You're not going to let that go. You want to still feel that feeling. So you get out, you got these things going wrong with you, and then from talking to people, there's a high number of guys that are coming from fucked up hometowns or broken homes or family situations back home, and they're going back to their hometown and dealing with shit that they put off for 20 years. Mm-hmm. So all these factors are coming in against them, and then they don't believe in themselves, or they're hearing how much it sucks at being in the civilian world. And I've said it too, and that's wrong of me. Like, there's plenty of opportunities out here if you apply yourself, but it does suck. So we've got a negative bias on the internet. We've got problems at home. We've got all these things and self-destructive behavior. And then you go, I'm not a Green Beret anymore. I'm not a Navy SEAL anymore. I'm not a Raider. Who am I? And you don't have the answer for that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't fucking know. And there's nobody to tell you. And then, fuck, God forbid you isolate yourself in Wisconsin and you don't have anybody's phone number in your phone, and you lose track with everybody. Everybody's still on a team or still out running missions, and you're just hanging out, letting yourself go.
Yeah, slowly dying. And this is what I said. You know, you mentioned something about motivation, and I just did a talk about this. I was like, I don't think it. Guys don't need motivation. Like you didn't need. Were you motivated every day during the Q course?
No, I complain the whole fucking time.
Yeah, right. Everybody does, right? It's just everybody does. My point being is, you didn't quit because you lacked motivation. Why? Because you had a mission, you had a purpose to graduate, right? Dude, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. There is a very much personality trait in regards to special operations and even the military. And that's where people get it wrong is veterans don't need hype. They don't need motivation. They have worked and lived and operated in the most shittiest of situations and environments, and were very rarely motivated. But they had mission, they had purpose, and that's where it comes down to is what veterans actually need, what former guys actually need is another mission, not motivation. They need to find their purpose of whatever that is. Yeah. And I talk a lot about the reality of it is that mission, like people go, well, what's my purpose? Well, I don't know. It's a long-winded, journey to go figure that out. But maybe your purpose is getting fucking sober. Maybe your purpose is not ruining your life with your wife and developing a stronger relationship with your wife and kids. Maybe it's getting your fat ass to the gym and dropping some body fat so that your endocrine system works well and you have hormones in your body that's like dopamine, and you're putting yourself on a positive snowball effect instead of the negative one that you were talking about that you did and I did and majority of you guys do. And that's where I think it comes down to it. I think that, yeah, the brotherhood, the uniform's gone, but the mission really isn't. Like we still are on mission. We just need to reapply that into a positive direction instead of a negative one. Because you're right. What happens is, what was his name? Henry Thoreau, I think his name is, said in 18 something, said men live a life of quiet desperation. In the 1800s. And that's more true today than it is today. And there's so many men out there, veterans or not, living a life of quiet desperation and feeling like they're on an island to themselves. And the reality is you don't have to be. It's a choice. It's 100% a choice that you make. Like there's so much going on in the world. There's so much community happening. But you've got to drop, and this is where, like I'm talking to myself, is I had to drop the freaking ego and the pride of well, I'm this big bad guy or I'm this, whatever, dude. Like, that's out the window. I have nothing more to prove. I got the check in the box. I'm good. Now I want to be successful. I want to be happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the goal. So how do I get there? Well, it's all these freaking things. And I start looking at, I talked about guys like, well, I'm depressed and this is going on and this is going. I learned this actually from Carl Munger from Gallant Few, and he goes, when we started working together back in 2014, I'm like, all right, so everything sucks. Your wife sucks. Your kids suck. Your job sucks. Everything sucks. Got it. What are you doing about it? Nothing. Sitting on the couch. Cool. You think maybe you want to change the game plan? If you're doing that and nothing's changing, maybe we should change the plan. Maybe we should change the game plan. And I said, and I started talking to guys. I'm like, well, if that's what you're doing, if that's your routine, maybe it's you that sucks. Maybe it's not your wife. Maybe it's not your kids. Maybe it's not your job. Maybe you just fucking suck. And maybe you need to change your routine and get something different to create a different outcome. Dude, it starts to become real simple. It's like, go to the fucking gym, stop eating shit, stop drinking, go help 3 people. Tell me 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude is a huge, huge, huge practice. You start, because it rewires your brain. You start saying the things that you're grateful for that you have in your life, and it pivots your brain from the have-nots to the haves. And then it creates a more positive snowball effect. And it's also, your network. Like if you're hanging out with a bunch of veterans that are just drinking and talking shit and complaining about everything like you did in the Army, well, then guess what happens? You're just back in that same world.
Our soul is stained by the color of our thoughts.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And that's Marcus Aurelius. But you have to work for that community after it's gone in the military. If you want that, you can find it. You're going to have to work at it. You're just going to have to go about it a different way. Everybody's online. Go fucking find them.
Yeah.
Make your own. I made my own little thing. I want to draw everybody in special operations to me to have my little piece. So if you've got a business or you've got a project you're doing, you can come on and we'll do an episode and it's all about you to help everybody out, to do my little part to show that it's pretty supportive out here.
Yeah.
Our community, you think there's all this infighting and it's not there. It's just a few people that step out of line and they get hammered by telling lies or things. And that's their business. I don't have the resume to speak on that, but I just want to be positive, and open with what I went through, and hopefully some people won't make the same mistakes that I did getting out, or they'll make different mistakes. And then we can talk about that on the show or on other people's shows and share what went wrong for you. How could you change it? What do you think you would do differently? I would stay in the fucking gym. We eliminate the first thing we eliminate is what makes us feel the best.
Yeah.
And then second, what do we do? Well, the most important thing over the gym, eating. We eat like shit.
Yeah.
So we eliminate the two things that are the best for us right away. And we replace it with the fucking worst one.
The worst ones. Yeah.
Drinking.
Yeah. Ain't that so true, man? Like you look at somebody who retires or gets out and it's like, boom, 20 pounds on them almost like overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or in like your case, down the road, 20 pounds of just straight muscle.
It's a lot of fun, man.
It's a lot of fun.
But as Sam Sulek said, being big is the biggest flex there is.
How old are you?
38.
38? It's good,
Yeah.
man. 240. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". That's a big dude. It's a lot of man to have to deal with. Because of jiu-jitsu, I don't think I'm ever going to be that big quite again. Nor do I think I want to.
My injuries pushed me the way they pushed me.
Yeah.
People ask me why I didn't get into the shooting and teaching tactical route. It's like, first off, I can't compete with my peers that have done these combat rotations and done all these schools. I'll never catch up.
Yeah.
But I'm already baseline strong. Let me go be over here and be fit and be an example of like what you can do if you get your diet, your sleep, your hormones, everything set, and what you can do when you're coming up on 40.
What do you do? What are you doing with it? Are you doing anything professionally with it? Are you competing? You doing anything fun?
I just showing off.
Good.
But it's like I got hurt on the ocean.
Yeah.
My big fuck you to that is I'm in the pool 3 days a week. I swim 1,000, 1,500 meters every other day. So I was bad in the pool, bad in the water, and now I'm good.
Yeah.
So it's just like a coping with dealing with how I got hurt.
So,
and shit that.
that's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, you just nailed it right there. Like, something you sucked at, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go get better at it. I won't say it's very easy to do. It's easier to do on the physical side, but I challenge people to do that on the mental side as well. Like, you suck at communication, you suck at talking about your feelings, you suck at being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, go work on that shit too, because the same thing that you're going to get out of it on the physical side, you'll get it out on the mental side as well.
That's like with this, right?
Yeah.
what's the end state of starting a podcast other than the base, helping people like and talk about issues and things like that. I want to be so good at speaking that I'm at outright and somebody says, hey, Nick, the keynote speaker just dropped out or isn't going to make it. Can you step up there? Absolutely. What's the topic? I can do it right now. That's how good I want to get at this. Like, that is where I want to push myself. I have the ability to stand up in front of people and talk, and I don't get nervous, and I can be in front of people. Lean into that. What can I do with that? I can speak up for veterans that won't do it themselves. I can be an example. I can represent regiment the best I can and be a better veteran than I was active duty.
Just a better person.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, like beating up the guy that's 10 years, you know, your version 10 years younger ago, as long as I can do that on a daily basis, if I can be better tomorrow than I am today in every way. That's the goal. 1% better every single day makes you 37 times percent better every year.
Yes, sir.
And that's really what it comes down to. So, dude, you got the lesser known operator podcast. You've gone through a shit ton of struggles. The one thing that I would say, and I'm sure that you have felt this in the past, is, and I hear it from like everyone, and I hate it. Well, I was just this. Like, I was just a truck driver. I'm like, dude, please don't ever tell me that ever again. Like, one, those are all super needed. And again, goes back to the percentages. You are one of 0.4% of the population that raised their hand and said, yeah, I've got the balls to do this. Like, never sell yourself short. And anybody that's listening to this, never sell yourself short, man, for what you've done. We all have a different journey to walk. No one's journey is more special or better than yours. That's their individual path. We all have an individual path that we have to walk, and that's just that. So Nick, what other than the lesser known podcast, what's got you going? What's next for Nick?
I just got back from North Carolina, representing Green Beret Foundation at Mountain Readiness Expo in Harmony, North Carolina. We raised a few $1,000s for the foundation.
Excellent.
That's really what I want to do. I'm
Yeah.
going to find whether I have to do it myself and start my own thing, and raising money to help veterans, or go the podcast route and just become somebody in the public light where people can reach out to me and I can get them help. But that's the purpose. That's what I want to do, is help people and help them not make the same mistakes that I made, so that hopefully when somebody gets in that situation that we spoke about earlier, when they're tired, when they're so tired and they just want to make that bad decision, that they'll reach out to me or somebody I know or you, and they won't make that decision. And then they don't have to pass off all their pain to all their friends and family. So
No, they have to. You got to own it.
Yeah.
You got to own your shit, man. You got to own where you're at. But you can't have the ego and all the BS and the pride to go with it. You got to drop that. Serves no one. I don't remember his last name. I'm looking for Mike. Guy I used to hang out with that was working with the Green Beret Foundation. I don't know if he still is. I haven't seen him in a couple years. Still not even on here. I got old, man. It happens fast.
you know, first sign of getting old is you start using your calendar on your phone.
Hey, dude. That's how we get through the day. Anyways,
Yeah.
I don't remember his last name. Great dude. Yeah, everybody's starting to age out here. Anyways, well, dude, if you guys are listening, go talk. If you are a former special operator, go talk to this guy. Go get on his podcast.
Yeah, man, we do long interviews, just talking about whatever comes up, your story, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Good.
And like, just to get to talk to so many interesting people, and hopefully the next generation or people that want to go to selection, like, see the good, see the cool, all the cool guy shit that there is to do, right? But there's a cost to this. And if you let it, it'll kill you.
100%.
It'll take your family from you. It'll take your mental health. It'll take everything from you if you let it. So there's ways to avoid it.
You let it. That's a choice. You have a choice of which direction you want to be. You can be the captain of your own ship, the CEO of your own life. You know, choose accordingly. A friend of mine told me, he's like, you have the freedom of choices, not the freedom of consequence. Choose wisely. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a quote he just tells his kids.
Because I said so.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, dude, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for sharing your story. And remember, man, like if you are one of those guys out there, like, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your sacrifice. Now turn all of that and turn it into fuel and go be successful. And then check out the lesser known Operators podcast and follow Nick Allen on IG. Thank you, guys. Thank you, man. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Remember to like it. Remember to drop me a comment. I want to respond to it. I'm actually the one responding to the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to absolutely love this one right here.